Hey, I have not hopped on in a little bit, so I wanted to hop on here and give you guys an update and hang out for a couple of seconds. So I'm going to give it a second for some of my buddies to hang out with me. It is a quiet evening. I'm hanging out on my porch. I'll give you guys a quick look around. This is my quiet little neighborhood. The sun's going down over there. And our furry friend is undecided. I think he's like trying to join the neighborhood watch or something because he's being a little creepy over here. But I have had an exciting day with work and then doing this recording for the masterclass that's coming up. I'm really excited about the Patience Rising masterclass that's coming up because this is an opportunity for me to really share the things that I have learned along the time that I've had to deal with medical professionals as a whole. So just a little, look, he just wants love. Hey, Edward. Hi. My little furry friend here just demands affection all the time. So this masterclass, I'm super excited about it because it's really going to be, kind of designed to equip patients to really kind of like take control of their own care. And we're going to be addressing topics like how to navigate the healthcare system as a whole, how to get help, like if you need financial help, what are some really great ways to start, and also the topic of how to deal with discrimination in the medical arena, which happens more than you think. I've actually had 2 separate occasions in, I want to say, the last 5 years that I've dealt with discrimination because of the color of my skin, my last name, I mean, who knows. And so I've had a lot of personal experience, and also, having worked in medical insurance in the past and having navigated this and helped family members and friends and other patients figure out how to get help. Hey, Kimberly, this was just a really, kind of a natural evolution for me to kind of help out with this masterclass. I'm really excited about that. And as soon as, this dog spends all his time crying to go outside. We sitting outside, and you see what he's doing? He's trying to get back in that house. I can't deal with him. He's too much. Anyway, I'm gonna let him in the house, and then we'll keep chatting. But so I am really excited about that. I'm excited about what this opportunity presents for other patients, like really empowering people. I'm all about empowering people to take control of their own health and their own life. And when you have chronic illness, it's really hard to feel like you have control of anything in your life. So if I can just give somebody some tools to kind of take back the ownership of their own health a little bit, then I'm happy to do that. And this is an opportunity for me to do that. I'm super grateful for Patience Rising for selecting me for that. And also, hey Phil, good to see you. And also just for everybody that has I've worked with so far from several different agencies that have been, just kind of like a part of the process for me to kind of like become a masterclass instructor and help to create content, and something that I will continue doing. I'll keep sharing my little reels and videos. So if you just want to keep letting me know what you're struggling with when it comes to health, I would really love to create some content that can help you navigate that, because that's really what I care about. And it's getting a little dark. The sun is like gone. Let's see. It's like going down over there, so I'm going to turn on my porch light. Otherwise, soon I will blend in. Oh, look who's decided that he's interested again in me. Oh, look. You see, guys? Now we can see again. But that is one thing that's going on. I'm really excited. I had the opportunity to do the actual recording today, and then we'll see the final product after the wonderful producer. I met with this, he's awesome. He, I believe, is based in Texas, and his name is Alan. He's just like incredible. And got to work with him today to do the recording, which was really exciting. So I will continue keeping you guys posted on that. But also wanted to give you guys some other information. Like I said in the post, that I've got some inspiration that just came from an unexpected place post-operatively that I thought was worth sharing. He's back at the door again. Back at the door, this damn dog, honestly. We're gonna let him in again. Go on. Go on, don't try to come out again. He wants me to follow him. That's what he wants. Anyway, it's not happening. But look, you see him? Such a creep, that dog, I swear. Anyway, so I'm super grateful for that opportunity. If there's anything that you ever need help with to learn how to navigate the healthcare system in order to get better care for yourself, for your family, please reach out. That's what I'm here for. I'm really passionate about that, like I've always said. So please definitely make some time to touch base, and I'll help you as much as I can. But off to the inspiring part. I was, as many of you know, I've been talking about it a lot. I've been super vocal about surgery I had 4 weeks ago now. I actually got a text message from the hospital today telling me that it's like I'm officially 30 days post-op, which was kind of exciting because that means I only got 2 weeks left till I can go back to regular activity, which I just want to walk my dang dog. I want to take him on a walk and do my regular morning stuff, and it's starting to cool down, so enjoying a little more time outside will be awesome. I'm looking forward to that. But it was a nice little reminder, but it made me think about something I've shared with a couple of people privately, and I have not shared more openly here. So just a full warning for anybody who's watching, because it just showed me a few people that came on, but it's not giving me names. If you get queasy about stuff, you probably don't want to stick on for this one. Like if you're just not, I mean, I had a hysterectomy. If you know what that is, I'm going to be sharing details about a pathology report. So if you're not a person that has a, you know, like if that's not you, like if it's I won't be offended. Maybe the encouragement wasn't for you anyway. It's okay. But just a fair warning that I'm going to be giving some details, and my little creepy dog is going to be poking his head around here too. But so post-op, I want to say maybe about 2 weeks, two and a half to 3 weeks post-op, the pathology report came back from this surgery that I had, because, you know, hysterectomy, they remove your uterus. For me, what they did was what's called a total hysterectomy, where they remove the uterus, the cervix, and the fallopian tubes. So the only thing that's left in there is ovaries, which is good for me because everything else was causing problems. But something really interesting for me that I shared with a couple of people only, I've actually not shared it broadly, was that it had been years, right? I know somebody just hopped on, Facebook's not telling me who, but we're sharing some pretty personal medical stuff here. So if you get like queasy with medical details, we're talking pathology report from surgery. So just a forewarning. But my creepy dog keeps coming back every time I say that. He must be interested in pathology. I don't know. But anyway, so backstory. I have been dealing with like some extreme pain and lots of issues for the last, I want to say 5 years. I do have PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, which can cause pain in addition to Crohn's disease. Sometimes it can be a little hard to figure out where the pain's coming from. But for me, my phone is like buzzing like crazy. I'll just wait till it finishes. But for me, it was a really, really hard road. So, creepy dog. It was a really complicated 5 years of going from doctor to doctor to doctor. Back in Connecticut when we were living up there, and then also down here, I had seen 3 doctors before the one that actually said, "Oh no, we can do this surgery. Let's get this handled." But when I was up north, one of the times that I've actually shared that before, I didn't share the detail of what part of my body, but in November of 2018, I started doing this thing of like a gratitude month, where I was like, God, I'm just gonna be grateful every month. And I shared shortly after that, the reason I was doing that was because I felt really impressed to do that after I had gotten some reports of cancerous cells that were found in my cervix. And so I was just like, God, please let this go away. And if I can just be grateful through this period and just choose to look for ways to be grateful instead of freaking out about the fact that they found cancerous and precancerous cells in my cervix, and that the biopsies and all the stuff that I had to do after that were super complicated. Like, if I can just focus on what's positive, maybe I can overcome this. And I did. They ended up still following up for several years after that. But I continued to have worsening problems, and they found a few fibroids, but every time that they looked, they said these fibroids are too small to be causing all the problems you're talking about. Like, honestly, at a certain point, sometimes when you have chronic illness, you feel like people are calling you crazy, right? Like, it's like, no, there's nothing here that would cause that pain. It's like they're probably thinking somewhere in their minds, hey, Anna, that like it's all in your head. And I definitely have dealt with my share of that over the years. And this was one of those things where I was just like, oh my God, it's been years of constant pain. And then the most recent change was that I started becoming anemic because I was having ridiculous amounts of bleeding. And I mean, you can figure out where the bleeding was coming from. But it was to the point where I was like lightheaded all the time and like losing so much that I was becoming anemic, and my blood cell count was like super low. And on top of that, it was during the same time that I was on a medication that could also affect my red blood cell count. So the first step was to take me off that medication and then hope that it would even out, but it didn't. And the pain also continued to worsen. And I don't know if you've ever been a woman in your 30s before, but doctors tend to not like to do any procedure that will permanently sterilize a woman in their 20s and 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s. It's just not something that doctors like to do, especially if you don't have, if you don't have children, definitely, but also if you have like only one child, there's always this thought in the head of like, oh, well, what if you decide you want more? Like, I decide I want to be healthy before I decide I want to have more kids. Like, but it was a struggle. So I'm, like two different doctors I was seeing in Connecticut, one of which actually I've shared the story a couple of times when I was going through stuff like this. I actually dealt with discrimination because they assumed that I was just like a drug-seeking person because I was in constant pain, and I had to go through the process to report the discrimination and all this stuff. So that is one of the things I actually share about on the masterclass as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But it's that, and then doctors just essentially really hesitant to say anything, and they just kept looking, right? So scan after scan and test after test to try and figure out what was causing the pain. And finally, the final doctor that I saw looked at everything, the culmination of all the reports, and said, you know what, let's do this. Let's get you a better quality of life. And if taking this out is going to give you a better quality of life, let's do it. So I was like super stoked. But as you know, because I've been dealing with a flare of psoriasis and arthritis and Crohn's, a couple days before surgery had an appointment with my doctor and my GI, and I was like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do the surgery. And it kind of uncovered for me, which I've shared in another live, which you can go back on my page and find, but it kind of uncovered for me that there was some fear about the procedure itself, about like, oh my God, this is a really life-altering procedure, and it's a big deal. So I was definitely had my bouts with fear, and I was encouraged by my doctor, like at that time, like, look, this is going to improve your quality of life. That it's going to help with so many other things. Like, let's just move forward and we'll figure everything else out after. And I did. I did go ahead. That was like on the Thursday before surgery. It was on Monday. And here we are 30 days after, and I have, knock on wood, which I don't have wood around here, but praise God, this has been the easiest surgery recovery I've ever had in my life. And as many of you know, I've had, let's see here, let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other surgeries. So this is the 6th surgery I've had in my life. This has been the easiest recovery. This is the 3rd abdominal surgery that I've had. Also, in comparison just to those, this is absolutely the easiest recovery I've ever had. Aside from just being tired, even the pain was like manageable. So I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy that, it's been a relatively easy thing to recover from. And I'm not saying it's that way for everybody. I'm definitely not recommending anybody do this unless it's in your best interest, and your doctors inform you that it's a good option for you. But even afterwards, I was just like, well, thank God it's in the past, whatever. And it wasn't until that pathology report came through that I really realized the way that I had gotten saved. And what came, the pathology report said that basically there were lesions of microscopic tumors all over my uterus. So like the entire uterus was covered in lesions of tumors. And they were not cancerous, but I have had precancerous cells in that part of my body before. So it's like, it's just a toss of the coin. It very well could have turned at any moment. And these are cancers that don't normally get caught early. So I was like, oh my God. And they found that, and they found a few other things. And I was just like baffled and like, wow, when I just read through this report and talking to a doctor, and it's like, yeah, it seems like this was the cause of all of your pain, was because there were these lesions all over your uterus. And they were not visible on ultrasound, which is why we didn't see them. And the only things we could see were fibroids that looked small enough that they shouldn't cause problems. So it was one of those things where the only way to find out was by doing a surgical procedure to either take a piece or take all of it out. And I'm grateful that all of it's gone. And the other addition there that my surgeon had advised me of prior was that since I had that, precancerous situation before, that by taking everything, including those fallopian tubes out, that my risk for cancer going forward would be 0 for cancer in those parts of my bodies. And so to have that taken out and then look at a pathology report that first of all confirmed all these years of struggle that I was like literally trying to like convince the doctors that there was something wrong, until I found this one doctor I was finally able to, to do something about it. But then also just seeing what was there and seeing that, oh my God, like if I had let my own fears that were very real just before surgery and the fears of other people, because I had several people telling me, oh my God, you're so young, it's going to change your whole life to have this procedure and all this stuff. If I had let those things control my decision to proceed, I would still be in pain right now. Like I can tell you with 100%, not even like, I'm not even lying, I'm 30 days post-op, I have 0 pain. Pain that was living in my body for the last 10 plus years, I have absolutely no pain in that part of my body. And my creepy guy's back here. So it's just insane to think that, wow, all of these years I suffered and I finally got this out and all of the answers were there, and now I'm not in pain anymore. And looking at that report, it was A, validation for me, right? Because I felt like, oh my God, finally I know for certain that I wasn't crazy. But B, I looked at it and I was like, God, look at what you saved me from. Right? Like these lesions that were all over my entire lining of my, like the entire uterus was covered. And it was just like this like, wow, all these things are here. Nobody caught them until this came out, and look what God saved me from. And I think that the comparison for us, first I'm thinking about a scripture in Corinthians, which I'll put it in the notes because I saw it before. I think I don't know if it's 1st or 2nd Corinthians. It's in the 10th chapter. And it's where the Bible says that God never gives us more. He never tempts us more than we can handle. He never gives us more than we can bear. And I think about the fear that sometimes accompanies our big life choices. And sometimes it's health-wise, like for me, but sometimes it has to do with your money, where you live, jobs. It has to do, like, it can be anything. And it can be so terrifying for you that it can make you freeze and say, okay, and I'm not willing to make a change because the change is so scary, right? Like, for me, it was that hysterectomy, and having so many people tell me, oh my God, the recovery process is going to be horrible, and you're going to go through this and that, and it's absolutely awful, and you're going to be in pain for months. And that was absolutely terrifying to hear all those things. And for you, it might be a different scenario. Maybe, like I said, it might have to do with your finances. It might have to do with your job. It might have to do with where you live. And there may be something in front of you that's like, okay, I know I have to make this change, but I am so terrified What if things don't go right? And we don't realize that what you are holding on to is pain. Just like me, if I had kept those parts of my body inside, I would be holding on to pain, because I literally, like I said, it's been 10 years of constant pain, and only the last 5 years where I had doctors doing all kinds of tests to figure out what it was, and finding precancerous cells and going through cancer scares all of the time, because on top of that, I was also on a medication that increased the risk for those kinds of cancers. So being terrified every time you're in pain that you could end up with cancer, and that it's a cancer that is not easily detectable, because this is not a part of your body that you can easily detect cancer in. That was years of just trepidation, right? Like every time you go to the doctor, oh my God, I really need to stay on top of this. And also having doctors think things about you like, oh, this is all in your head, you're crazy. And the amount of validation that came on the other side of that, reading that report and realizing, oh my God, you saved me from something that could have, destroyed not just my quality of life, but God only knows that could have been my life. And the validation of, I'm not crazy. There is stuff, there was stuff there, and now it's gone along with all the pain. And it was uncomfortable, right? Because there's a lot of stitches involved, which I will not give you details about, unless you're planning to have that surgery. If that's something that's in your future, you can inbox me and I can talk through that with you. But it's a whole lot of stitches, a whole lot of uncomfortableness, a whole lot of discomfort, yes, but pain, I would say the pain probably is gone after the first week or so. But there's a lot, right? And so it can be really scary to do something that feels like a big change, that feels like something is being taken away from you, because quite realistically, something was literally taken out of my body. And sometimes when you're talking about financial struggle, when you're talking about jobs, when you're talking about where you live, when you're talking about what you're doing, like you can feel like things are being taken away from you. Like what you're asking me to do is give up something that I know I have. And it can be really scary to think about that. But on the other side of this, hi, I don't know who joins because it doesn't tell me names anymore, but welcome. I'm almost to the end of this. I promise I won't keep everybody here all night. Hey, Sandra. But at the end of it, like I said, I'm literally no pain from that region, like at all. And cancer risk is now 0. And all of those things that weighed on me before are gone. And I just want to encourage somebody today that maybe there's something in your life like that. Maybe it's not surgery, maybe it is. God doesn't give you more than you can handle. And if there's been a path before you that feels scary, be willing to face your own fears and confront them, because maybe you, like me, can find on the other side of that healing, wholeness, and completion to that chapter of pain that has been your life, that has been that part of your life. Maybe there's a door that you feel like is closing on you that you weren't ready for it to close, or you don't think that it's like, God, why are you taking this from me? On the other side of it, there's something better. He never takes something away from you without giving you something better. And he never puts you in a circumstance that you cannot handle. The Bible says in Jeremiah 29:11, one of my absolute favorite verses, that he has his plan for you is to give you a hope and a future. So at the end of whatever you're facing right now, it's not the end. There is a future because he promised you that. And it might seem scary, the changes you have to make, the things that you feel like you're giving up. But on the other side of those things, there is a new chapter, a new life waiting for you, just like there is for me. And I can't tell you how it feels to be, for the first time in my entire life, not having pain in that part of my body, because it's been more than 10 years of my life that I dealt with constant everyday pain. And now it's gone completely. And like I said, cancer risk is 0, and all of these other things, benefits that came from it. But it wasn't really, that bulb didn't go off for me until that pathology report came back and showed all of the things that God had saved me from. Just because I said, okay, this is scary, but I'm still going to do it. And I don't know what you're going through, and maybe it's scary. Maybe it's the most terrifying thing you've ever faced in your life. But if God brought you to it, He will bring you through it. And His plan is always to prosper you, to give you a hope and a future. So if He brought you to it, allow Him to bring you through it. Okay, friends, I have been running my mouth for like 25 minutes. I hope that you will all stay plugged in, because like I said, that patient advocacy opportunity is coming up soon to learn how to advocate for yourself. If there's something you're struggling with, please message me. And if you are dealing with anything complicated with your health in your life, I hope this word encouraged you if you hung on. I know it's a little more detailed than I've given in the past about the procedure and all this stuff, but I thought that there was value in that, value in knowing that sometimes something physically has to be taken from you in order for you to reap benefit from it. And if God brought you to it, He will bring you through it. All right, guys, have a good night. I'm going to go inside and put my son to sleep because it is his bedtime. And, the furry one has given up on me, so I'm going to go find him too. All right, guys, love you. God bless you. I hope you're doing well. Take care.